I was about maybe when I was about 4. I remember my father made me a little basket that I could carry on my back and would help him carry, vegetables or whatever I could help at the age of 4. And so in Laos, you're pretty much it was a very hard life. So your parents determine when you can support them. And for me, it was about the age of 4, and so I tried to do my part as a little boy, and taking care of the animals at home, just helping my parents. But other than that, just there wasn't really anything to do except, obviously like climbing trees and go swimming, playing with the boys in town, and just it wasn't like America or anything like that where we had a ball or marbles or you name it, the toys that we have over here. Over there, it was more like an outside thing, running around, playing with sticks, and like I said, climbing trees, swimming, throwing rocks, typical stuff. It was 1975 when the Northern Vietnamese invaded my country, and my father was working. Before then, my father was a soldier for. Was part of the they call it the secret war, where the CIA went over there to recruit the Hmong. I'm a Hmong person. That's my heritage and my nationality. They recruited a lot of Hmong people to fight along with the American soldiers. They were not considered American soldiers, but then behind the scene, because of their fighting spirit, and because of their knowledge in the jungle. They were recruited secretly. That's why it was called the Secret War. And so my father was recruited under the direction of the late General Vang Pao, of course. His job was to, along with the other soldiers, was to defend the Ho Chi Minh Trail, the famous Ho Chi Minh Trail, where the Northern Vietnamese transported weapons from the north down to the south. Yeah. So my father was part of that war, and then. But the invasion did take place in 1975, and because of what my father did as a soldier, we were afraid of our lives, and that's why we had to, go to Thailand, and then from there we came to in Laos at the time. I had 3 brothers with me, and then but when we got to Thailand. It became 8, So because we lived in Thailand for almost 5 years, unfortunately I lost a brother and a sister in the camp because of the malnutrition, the illness. When we heard that the communists invaded, so my father said, because of my experience in the war, I know what it's like. I know what the communist soldiers can really do to, a whole village. And it was a very scary thought, to him. So the only choice was to go to Thailand. At that time, the American government made a promise to General Vang Pao because of your previous help to the American people. If you can tell your people to get to Thailand, we will then honor our promise and get you out of Thailand to America. So I was about 7. I remember one very story when I was like in 7th grade learning the ESL language, and the teacher was teaching us the numbers, 1 to 40, and then the teacher tried to trick us. He said, okay, from 40 on, all you have to do is just put 4 and then D and then the number. Well, one day he tricked us and he said, well, if you can guess this number, you get a treat. Remember, this is an ESL class, okay, so just mainly immigrants. And nobody raised their hand, and I saw the number 55, and I raised my hand, and I thought I could do it, and the teacher said, okay, what is it? I said, 55. I remember everything the teacher told us, and I said, well, if you can say 50, and then just put the number at the end. But it was wrong. But little experience like that really shaped my degree in biology. Originally, I wanted to be a medical doctor, and I was actually a pretty good student, and I graduated high school with valedictorian in my class, the only valedictorian in my class. And then I went to college. I also graduated at the very top 1% of my class. And I applied to med school. I applied to it because I came from a poor family, low-income family. They allow you to apply to 10 medical schools, and I applied to 10 for free. You don't have to pay that fee. That admission fee. Well, I got accepted to 8. And then but for some reason I didn't go to med school. I went into psychology. I got my master's degree in 1982 and my PhD in 1996. I was working. I remember clearly. I just got laid off from HealthNet, and I was working for HealthNet as a regional director for clinical services in Southern California. And that was my dream job. And then I got laid off, and 3 months later, I was like, I was worried. I got a huge mortgage payment, a couple of car payments, and I had 6 kids, and I still do. But you know how it is when you have 6 kids, and now I had a job at that time, but it wasn't the job that I really wanted.
Preferred.
Yeah, preferred. But it was something like, I had to do to feed my family. But I was watching TV one night with my wife, saw a poke on TV. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and I turned the channels and came on. And being a psychologist, I remember pointing to the TV and I said to my wife, honey, I can do that.
Wow.
And so my wife, I remember she gave me this very disgusting look. Say, hey, you're not going there. Well, I bought a couple of books a couple of weeks later and started reading poker books, of course. And I remember she saw me reading the books and she said, that's not one of your books that you read. I said, well, it's called Super System by Doyle Brunson, who is a famous poker player. And she wasn't too happy, but I made a promise to her I would use 5% of my income every month to play. And if I lose, I wait another month. If I win, I use the winning to play further. But to make the long story short, I won a $10,000 seat in 2007. 2 years later, I won a seat at a local casino for $225. I was given the option of taking the $10,000, go home and forget about Vegas, or allow them to use the $10,000 to buy the seat in Vegas. And when I saw the money, $10,000, it was a lot of money to me. I almost took the money, Janelle. I'm not kidding you. I allowed them to use it. I went to Vegas. The rest was history. We had been playing for about 16 and a half hours.
Wow.
Yeah, long day. Came down to my last opponent. And I had doubled him up because I had more chips than him. So he got lucky earlier, and so his chip went from, I believe, I think 12 million to like 25 million, and I had like 102 million in front of me. And the very last hand I saw pocket eights, and I said, oh, God, please let this be it, because I don't want to play any further. I was tired. It was 7:30 in the morning. We had played since midnight the night before. No, 10 a.m. the day before, And so I saw pocket eights. I raised to 2.3 million. He shoved all his money in for 25 million. And I made the call, and the flop came, queen 9-5. He hit his queen, he had ace queen. He had his queen, I was way behind. I got very, very lucky. The 7 came, and then the 6 came. I made my straight. So I won. I was like the best. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best moment of my life, to be honest with you. The best moment of my life was when they called my father's name to come to America. That was probably the best time. Yes. Even like today, I'm still a little shocked myself. Thinking back, I said, sometimes I think to myself, really? You really? So, it was very surreal. Gosh, it was so hard to explain. Just the feeling knowing that, I don't have to worry, because when I was growing up, my father was working like minimum wage, and he couldn't support my family because he didn't have any education. So if we got lucky, we if we got lucky, we would be able to eat like an apple like once a month. You know what I mean? That's how poor we were. We were living the projects, and there I was, sitting with a pile of money, over $8 million in front of me. I said, and they offered me, they say, Jerry, you're a champion. You have three choices. You take the money on the table home, all those $8 million, pack them and go home, or we'll give you a cashier's check, or we'll give you some chips. You take it to the cage and get the cash over there. And I was like, I want to take all the money. But of course, my sons came to me and said, yes. Hey, you better take the cash. I gave $275,000 to the Ronald McDonald House. I'm a big fan of the Ronald McDonald House because I used to work for HealthNet, and I've seen kids that really struggle with cancer or something like that. So and then of course I gave another $275 to feed the children, and then the other one, the other $275, I gave it to Make-A-Wish for the kids. Yeah, never give up. Don't ever give up. If you have a dream, to me, if you don't have a dream, there can never be a reality. You got to dream first before the reality can take place. And one thing that I learned from my father, and one thing is that my father taught me is everything begins with a thought. And as long as you have a good thought, you have a positive thought, that thought will turn into to an action. And the more that you do it, that will turn into a habit. And the more you do it, the habit will become your character. And that character then will take you to your destiny. And so I have always believed in that. And I teach my kids the same thing. I've been invited to a few places to do, to speak to some students or whatever not. So whatever you do, we all have our own problems, but the minute that you give up, that's it, the game over for you. So as long as you don't give up, you keep doing it, you keep trying it. It may take you a little bit longer than other people, so what? The point is, you don't give up. You keep going, and as long as you keep going, you'll get there eventually. Yes, they may get there a little bit earlier than you, but if you give up, guess what? You will never ever see what that will feel like once you get there. So that's my philosophy in life.
Yeah. Very inspirational.
Thank you.
I want to just thank you again. Thank you very much for taking this time to answer these questions and all that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming.